Ooh, god damn. Put that shit on the record. I actually have no clue if this is even up. I have this. Yeah, we're live. Kinda wonder who's gonna pop in, considering that this is fucking 3 a.m. We'll see. I stream at the best of times. Really. Let me answer a quick text message. You know, I don't know how you make an operating system as ass as the Android operating system. I'm gonna be honest. It takes skilled professionals, like talented in making shitty OSs. Like that genuinely, it takes skill, genuine talent. For the record, this is not the same white t-shirt as the last stream I did. Let the record show. This is not the same white t-shirt. I have multiple of the exact same t-shirt, but it's a different one. The last time I did this stream, I pretty much am wearing the exact same thing. So I'm fucking tired. I'm fucking tired. But might as well be productive while I'm tired. That includes yapping about pointless shit. And then also, I wanted to actually get some work done on conceptualizing and planning and talking about endpoint. Sure, you guys already know about that. I don't have to give a spiel about that. If anyone watching the stream doesn't know what endpoint is, I'm just gonna, that's. Hey, man. Sorry. I ain't explaining that shit again. I'll put this here. That there. There we go. Window management. Something the tiling manager users know all too much about. This is getting the exact amount of viewership I expected, by the way. The fucking 3 a.m. streaming. It never fails. I'm John D. Bloater. Yes. Yeah, that's me. That fucking name is always so funny to me. Because, if you ever go watch any of my older videos, and you ever actually look at the name I set for the virtual machine user, it says John, so a lot of people actually read that and thought that my real name was John. So there was actually like a thing for a while before I ever revealed what my real name was. There was a thing in the community where quite a couple of people thought my name could have been actually John, and that's kind of where the whole John D. Bloater thing, it's kind of where that came from. But no, No. The whole John name was an inside joke with the Raven team. Alright. So this stream might be a little different because I actually want to get a little bit of work done. So you guys are going to watch my brain slowly, the gears slowly turning actively. My keybinds still work. Nope, I do not want Brave support. I have a keybind for this. I was wondering if it actually transfers across profiles. Clearly it does. So, the endpoint protocol, right? What's up with that? So, the thing is, right now, the way endpoint works, think of this as like an envelope, all right? You're sending some mail. We'll think in terms of mail here. So, Chuchi, hello. Hello. So in terms of mail, right? Because that's kind of the whole idea behind endpoint. Is I wanted to essentially make email, but not awful. So if we're basing this off of like mail, right? You have the envelope, and then you have your letter, right? Your message. What color do I want for a letter? I'll just do gray. So this is a piece of paper, right? This is the envelope you're going to put that paper in. So on this paper, you'll write, you'll have a couple different things. You'll have, obviously, the message, contents, right? I'm explaining how endpoint works right now. So actually, if I go ahead, how endpoint works right now. Just that everyone's on the same track. So you have message contents, but then you also have who the message, you have the recipient, I'll use proper words. You have the actual hash, you have, it doesn't use a hash. No, it doesn't use a hash. It doesn't use a hash. There's no shot. It doesn't use a hash. The envelope structure. Yes. Alright, that's contact artifacts. Nope. Protocol architecture, message structure. So, right. So the route identifies that public identity, blah, 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 is a signed object. There we go. So then the outer envelope message. So, yeah. So this is everything that's contained in the outer envelope, and then here's everything inside the envelope. So there's a whole lot of yap, a whole lot of technical yap, but just for the sake of, you know, not wanting to blow our brains out. So this just contains, like, who you're sending to, protocol version, timestamp, what other yap? It contains the, yeah, the ciphertext. So it actually does contain, yeah, it does contain the hash. Alright, so this actually contains the message contents, but then it also contains the exact same shit. This is how endpoint works right now. What's your opinion on shrimp, kind stranger? I very much like shrimp. But I also feel like shrimp is very easy to mess up. I have had some really bad shrimp before. I don't get to eat shrimp that often because it's expensive as shit, but you know, Popeyes right now actually has limited time. Like, would you ever expect to get shrimp from Popeyes? It sounded so awful that I wanted to try it. So I actually did try Popeyes shrimp. I thought it'd be disgusting. It wasn't the best shrimp I've ever had, but it was pretty good. It wasn't anything like mind blowing or whatever, but it was pretty good. I didn't think it'd be that good. Beep boop. Thank you for that. Uh, what are we looking at? So this is endpoint. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with what Raven's been up to. What I've been up to. This is endpoint. Basically, like I actually can explain endpoint to you really simply. Like, it's actually not hard to understand. So email's garbage. I think we can all agree on that. Email is atrocious. It's actual dog shit. So imagine email, but good. Thoughts? That's you're all caught up. Wow, that's a lot of code. This ain't the code. This is just the actual message structure and everything JSON. Nice. Can you drop the repo link? Yeah, sure. I know alternate is in active development right now, and alternate doesn't have a working finished POC yet, like proof of concept code implementation. That's what we're building actively right now for alternate, which takes a long time because alternate's a drastically larger project than endpoint. But endpoint already has a fully working POC and a working demo that you can actually run on your computer and actually demo it, like actually run it on your system and send messages between users through a server. Like, you can actually do that right now. Using it in production, terrible idea. Don't use it in production yet because it's still far from production ready. But endpoint does have a working POC out and everything right now, which, you know, I'm very happy about. So endpoint, right? This is how it works right now. So the envelope, this is all information that's readable by the server. So envelope readable by server. All right. The message contents, on the other hand, the paper, if you will, is only readable by the recipient because it's encrypted. All right. So, are we seeing how this is working? Well, this will be envelope. I want to make sure this is as clear as possible. This is the envelope. Then this is paper. We're thinking in terms of we're thinking in terms of how the U.S. postal system works, right? Like, let's just think in terms of like actual mail. What happened with Talon? Nothing happened with Talon. It's still there. It's right there. Since March 28th, 2026 at 3:04 a.m. UTC, 48,831 downloads. Click that, copy link, run it, boom. Is it still in development? Yep. Actually, if you go... Not the commercial licensing, that's something else. This. Yeah, Talon's still in active development. We added multi-language support recently. And we added presets and even more. So you know how kind of in the very first video where I showed off like a little demo of Talon, like the very first version that was never actually public, you know, kind of the concept of like presets or whatever, we finally added that. So this is kind of a flashbang screen. Oh yeah, I'll be honest. Let me do that. I'll make myself a little Smaller. You can't see me very well, but I don't think you guys care that much. It's probably fine. My lighting situation ain't good. We'll thug it out, though. Alright, so, again, think in terms of like how actual mail works, alright? Because I want to make sure that this is easy to follow. Um, I mean, most people are pretty familiar with how like the mail works, at least in the United States. You know, that's so the envelope is readable by the server. So like, let's say the server is the mail delivery guy, right? So the server is UPS, you know, the people handling your mail. They can see the envelope and they can see the stuff on it that says, you know, who you're sending to, protocol version, timestamp, hash, all that stuff, right? And then that tells them where they need to deliver the mail. But they can't open up the envelope and read the contents inside of it because let's say the envelope is tamper-proof. And if they open it, it'll show that it has been opened and possibly tampered with, right? And if you ever receive mail that looks like it's been tampered with, you discard it. You don't open it, right? At least, you know, just for the sake of making this analogy work. Currently, how endpoint works right now, though, is that we actually duplicate this information. So the information that the server can see, you know, that says who you're sending to, who it came from, that's who it came from. I totally forgot about that. So, who it came from, all this information is duplicated and written on the paper as well. And this paper can only be read by the recipient because my audio's bugged. Is my audio bugged? I've only heard that from one guy. And if more people mention it in chat, I'll give it a listen. I mean, can someone else in the chat pitch in? Is my audio bugged? Because I can fix it if it is. I don't know. I hear okay, I think. I mean, what's wrong with it? Is anything wrong with it? Low or gain is too high. Oh, are you saying that I'm like too loud? Oh, am I too loud? Oh, gain. Yeah. Okay. How's that? We'll try that. I did see my voice going past the red on the bar in OBS. So yeah, you were right. I think the gain was too loud. This should be good though. Let me know if it isn't. We can change it up. My speaker is a bit broken. Maybe I'm not the best for that, but can understand perfectly. Alright. And also, hey man, it's nice to see you again. I don't really know how to pronounce your username, but I remember you from the last stream. Happy to see you back at it again, man. Thanks for tuning in again. So, are we all following so far on this model? It's more like there's an airy echo when you speak. Huh. You know what it might be? I have a fan on, kind of actually not that far from me, and this fan is Oh, wait a second. Am I... No, I'm not. I have a fan on, like literally right over there. So is it possible that it's the fan? In that case, we'll thug it out. As long as my audio is tolerable, then it's fine. If it sounds a little off, you know, yeah, whatever. Well, you guys seem to be able to understand me fine, and as long as it's not like super annoying for the stream, then we can continue. Yeah. So are we all on the same page so far? This is how endpoint works right now. So in order to, because the server, the person handling your mail, in theory, they could tamper with the envelope. They could change the information on it. They could say, no, it actually uh, came from over here and whatever, right? Like they can say all this other stuff, right? Or they can tamper with the hash or whatever, right? Um, but they cannot tamper with the paper. They can only tamper with the envelope. And the envelope is tamper proof in a way where if it is tampered with, then the recipient will know about it. Like there's no way to tamper it without it being noticeable because, not abstracting it, it obviously cryptography, um, it's signed, so, you know, but not using technical language. The way it works is, yeah, just, and then they can't read the paper. And what we do right now to actually, make it so that you can actually double check and make sure that that stuff hasn't been tampered with is that we actually include this same information again in the paper. So this information's included twice, and that allows you to double check it all and make sure that it's kosher, solid, right? Does it all make sense? So with endpoint, you put the paper in the envelope and you send it off, right? But currently the system works great, especially for the initial POC and stuff that's available right now. It proves the concept. It proves the fundamental idea of endpoint, right? Like it does work, but this is really inefficient for multi-recipient messaging, right? Let's say you wanted to actually have multiple recipients, okay? In email, you can do that, right? Um, Endpoint right now is only designed for one-on-one communication. So there's no way to do more than one person on one person in an exchange. And if endpoint's ever to be used seriously, then obviously we need better than that. Now you could keep this same structure and just allow multi-user, messaging, but that's extremely inefficient and slow. It would be very slow and very bad. And the reason why is because you have to generate a brand new, you have to get a brand new envelope and a brand new paper every single time. So you're writing, let's say there's 10 people you want to send this to. You're writing 10 different papers and packaging them in 10 different envelopes and then sending them off, right? So that's just kind of awful. That's just not good. Um, and we don't like that very much. So I've been thinking about it, right? And I'm not even joking with you. I've been giving thought into how the actual U.S. Postal Service works, the USPS, yeah, USPS, right? How they handle mail, and I was also thinking about like, well, how would any sane person send off, you know, if you had one message you wanted to send to several people, how would you do it? And I kind of came up with a design that I think that would work pretty well. So I'm gonna put this over here, and then how I want endpoint to work. All right. So we're actually not gonna copy that over. So first thing you do is you want to make a paper, right? So we'll get our paper. Now you would write this paper, and you would write, your message contents, right? And whatever else. I'll get to that in a moment. And there's more information that needs to be there, but I'm not thinking about that yet. And then you have, instead of, the old model that's really only designed for one-on-one communication, what you would do here is you'd actually have three objects. We're introducing a new object. One of these objects is going to be a little, I guess, delivery slip, right? Delivery Oh yeah. Let me label everything again. Paper. Envelope. And then this would be the delivery slip. All right. So this delivery slip basically comes in and instead of embedding all of this information over again in the paper, you're writing one paper, right? That's just the message contents. All right. And what you're doing is you're still creating you're putting the one paper and you're basically like making copies of that paper, right? So you wrote one paper, one message, and you're just making like photocopies. You're printing out multiple pages of it. And obviously this is signed, by the way. The paper's signed, if that signed for authenticity. So the paper is like actually signed, so it's provable that you wrote it. All right. And then you're just making multiple copies of this exact same paper, and the envelope still contains basically all this same information. That is the wrong color. And you're packaging up, a new envelope per person that you want to send to, right? But instead of having to write a brand new paper every single time, you're just using the one paper. All right. So that's nice because then you're not having to rewrite the paper. It's not a brand new paper every single time. Is this making sense so far? Well, I didn't explain the delivery slip yet. How would I articulate my idea? So the delivery slip, essentially, the goal with it is that it's just this little lightweight slip that just verifies the paper and verifies this information, right? Because you got to think the way this information should be treated, you shouldn't, as the recipient at least, you shouldn't rely on this information. The information on the envelope isn't really meant for you. It's meant for the server, the delivery person, right? The if Imagine looking at an envelope, reading whatever it says on the outside, and then just assuming that if it says like what's inside the envelope, and you read what it says is inside the envelope, and you're just blindly trusting that that is indeed what's inside the envelope, right? Like, you shouldn't do that, because whoever handled the envelope before it got to you could write whatever they want, right? Like, I could say that there's a bomb in it and there's not, right? But and imagine just blindly believing that. That would be silly. So this information isn't for you. It's for the people transporting your envelope. So we don't care about this data as a recipient. We don't care about what's on the envelope. We care about the contents. All right. And remember, the envelope is tamper-proof. The envelope we got these special tamper-proof envelopes. So if anything's tampered with, the stuff inside of it or whatever, if they open it up to modify the stuff inside of it, then it's verifiably noticeable. Like there's no way to do that without it being noticeable. So, if they did tamper with the contents of the envelope, then we're going to throw it out. So the delivery slip comes in and basically just acts as a mechanism to verify the authenticity of this data, right? To verify the integrity of the envelope. What the fuck would I write here? What? Not a damn hash. That's not what I'm thinking about. A Because you know how the paper would in the original model we were copying all this stuff from the envelope, just copying it over. Basically, we're doing that here instead of on the paper. You know what I'm saying? How am I? I'm tired and I can't sleep, so now I'm explaining mail to strangers on the internet. And so, anyways, the point of this structure is basically to make endpoint more efficient for two things actually. So this actually the main goal of this new structure is to make endpoint more capable for um, multi recipient communication, right? But it's also useful for if you want files. So obviously a big thing is that we're going to want people to be able to share files and like shit like that, right? Now with the older model, technically you can already share files because what's inside the envelope technically doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be paper inside of the envelope. It can be whatever you want. It can be a cinder block, right? It can be an MP3. It can be whatever. But the thing is that if you try to fit a cinder block inside an envelope, it's probably gonna just fucking break the envelope. It's probably not gonna be able to fit it in. And kind of my point with that analogy there is that like technically you can do it. It's just not good. It's slow, it's bad, it's lame, it's dumb. So, at least with this new structure, you have only one paper and you're just using that same paper, you're just using copies of that paper. You're just signing a lightweight little delivery slip for each that just verifies everything is kosher, and then you wrap it up in the envelope and send it off, right? So that this way, you know, um, it's just a lot more efficient for multi-recipient communication because instead of rewriting that entire paper or um, basically redoing that entire package for each person, um, you're just using the same thing basically and just like writing a little slip. It, my analogy's starting to fall apart, but I think you guys get what I mean. I think you guys get what I mean. So yeah, it's just the current model is just not great for uh, the expansion I want to take endpoint in. So at least with this model, it's a lot more efficient at handling multi-user stuff and also again larger files or whatever because you're not actually reproducing. You're not re-signing and redoing that data over and over and over for every single thing. You're signing the data once. You're packing it with a little delivery slip and then you're sending off the envelope. So it's you know just a lot less headache inducing as we scale. Thoughts? Any thoughts at all? I know this is a lot of bullshit to be spewing on about at 3 a.m. How was my day? Long. I was mostly outside all day. I went to Denny's. Me and a friend of mine went to Denny's for dinner, so that was nice. The people at that Denny's know us. Yeah, what's endpoint? I missed that. Splendid. Sounds like there's no questions at this time. Sounds like everyone's all caught up then. Sounds like we're all on the same page here. This is my idea. And something you'll notice with endpoint at least, and the way it's designed, is that It's pretty simple. This isn't very complex. This is a fairly simple networking protocol, messaging protocol. And that's because simplicity is better. I value simplicity. I think that overcomplicating the fuck out of this protocol or whatever is just fucking dumb. In the wise words of Terry A. Davis, you know, an idiot values complexity, right? And a competent or smart person values simplicity. Now, I'm not saying I'm competent nor smart, but I'm just saying that I value simplicity over over complexity. I think that, if you want a secure, valid, functioning alternative to email, it needs to be simple and just straightforward and just work. It needs to not be super complex and difficult to understand and comprehend and everything. It's pretty simple stuff. I have one little question, not about endpoint, but I'm having a little something with Talon. Well, it can be Windows 2, I don't know, but well, if you're having technical problems, you can either shoot us an email or you can, which we would actually prefer the second option. You can join our community Discord server, and there's a support channel, and you can make a post about it, and we can help you in there. You can shoot us an email about it, though, too, if you want. It's just a bit less ideal, because email's not as fast. You're not going to get as fast of replies or whatever. Talon sets a wallpaper, and you like it, but these days, whenever I refresh my Windows, right-clicking and refreshing, my desktop, my wallpaper by Talon just goes away and becomes black. I've actually seen that before, and I think it has to do with the new way of running Talon. I think I know why that's the cause, and it's not your fault. It's not your system, whatever. It's none of that. So, back in yesteryear, running Talon, you actually downloaded an exe. You would temporarily exclude Defender manually. You would do all this stuff, right? And it was a pain in the ass. We now use this new method that literally pretty much every major debloater uses. They all use this method, and it's because it gets around all that shit. And so now we use this too, where all you have to do is run a single command in PowerShell, and it just works, right? Which I'm guessing is how you ran Talon. Problem with running it this way, I think that Talon's way of setting your wallpaper right now might be like getting messed up by running Talon this way, because this puts Talon in a temporary directory, and unpacks it, to run it, and then cleans it up after and stuff. I think that cleanup process after, and putting it in the temporary folder like that and stuff is maybe the problem. I think running it this way is the problem, is what I'm saying. Because I ran Talon, new version Talon, myself, and I noticed that after restarting the system, it blacked out the wallpaper. So you're not alone in it, is basically my point. I'm gonna look into that and get it fixed in the new update. You guys want to see a little behind the scenes thing? Let me show you guys a little behind the scenes thing. Let me get that for you guys real quick. A little secret surprise. Man, you late night live stream viewers get all the little surprises, all the little spoilers. You guys get you guys get all the little insider information. That was maybe my Windows or something because, well, it's not Microsoft anymore. It's Microslop. Yeah. No, it's not. It's just a weird quirk with Talon in the new running method. So actually, bit of a confession. The donors on Buy Me a Coffee already know about this, but you guys are also getting insider knowledge into this. And also, they haven't seen all of them. You guys are about to see all of them. Talon is we're actually adding a wallpaper selector, or at least that's what I'm planning to do. And I've actually gone out with a camera that I bought and actually been taking photos. Me and my friend go on a lot of photography walks out and stuff, and we walk for hours. You know, in the Texas heat, summer heat, just sweating our balls off. But I take some photos and stuff, and I've actually taken some photos that are going to become Talon wallpapers. So there's actually going to be original wallpapers made for Talon that I took myself that are going to become wallpapers, and you can like click a button and it'll show like a little gallery, and you can pick what wallpaper you want or whatever. And you guys are about to get a little sneak peek into those. Well, getting around that is just to download the desired wallpaper from the Discord server community. Yeah, pretty much. If you want to go download the wallpaper, it's in the Discord, I think. If it's not in the Discord, I can just send it out after stream. But you guys are about to get a little insight. You guys want to take a look? I don't know why I'm asking chat that. I shouldn't be waiting for an answer. Last time I did that, everyone just said no. So here's the first one. It's a flower. I'll make my boy smaller. First one up is a flower. Alright, this one's called Wildflower. So I took this one going out on there's like this trail. There's this park not too far from me in this neighborhood, and then there's like a trail you can go down, and then there's like a kind of forest, but then there's like kind of paths in the forest or whatever. I was walking down that, took this one. This is wood pile. It's just a pile of wood, as the name implies. Nothing too special there. This is underpass. So, or underway, I meant. It's underway. So this was actually really cool, I thought. That there's like a, like a bridge here, and then there's actual like, this is pretty shallow water. You might be wondering how I'm standing there. This water here is actually really shallow, but it like looks really fucking cool. So, got a little photo of that. Another one of wood. This one's called timber. We got another one of wood. Coming up next is one of my favorites, Strata. I really like this one. Something about it, really, I don't know, but I really like this one. I found this, like, like sewer tunnels and stuff, like for just sewage and stuff. But I guess there were like a bunch of splotched paint and shit here, and I just thought it looked really cool with the lighting and everything, so I took a photo of that. There's this one of a hot rod. Ignore the fact that it has a little ignore that, but like a little black and white one. It's kind of, I added a grain effect to make it look like an older photo. But this one's it's an old hot rod right here. This one is a bit different from all the others. This is water. And I added there's like this filter to like kind of make something look like an oil painting. And I applied that filter, and I did a little tuning and everything, and I just thought it looked really nice. This one's called Reflection. It's just it is actually just a photo of water, but then I made it look fancy. And I thought it looked nice. Thought I'd make a neat wallpaper. This one is, I actually don't know if I'll include this one in the final. I'm unsure if this will actually make it in the final. Um, it's called Reclaimed. It's just a tire and like the wilderness like taking over the logs and the tire and everything. I just thought it looked neat. Another one of the same area. This one's called Passage. Just a different angle and everything. I also like this one. Now this one is called Overgrowth. Again, I don't know if I'll include this one. I don't think it's my best work, but I kind of liked how the wilderness, the roots and the grass and everything are like kind of taking over this fucking tire here. This one is literally just shrubbery. It's called Foliage. Anyone who likes green wallpapers, I guess they're gonna have a blast with this one. It's literally just a whole bunch of leaves. But I thought it still made it for like a decent background. Greenery is always pleasant. Yeah, exactly. This one is Current, and it is, as the name implies, a electric current. This one feels like some shit you'd see on like a OEM laptop, like some like work device or something. This one I really like. This is called Clearing. I very much like this one. It just feels very open. Feels very gives me Windows XP vibes, Windows Vista vibes almost. Like I like the whatever this is supposed to be. I'm really not sure what this is supposed to be, but like it's being completely taken over by shrubbery and shit. I very much liked it, and it just felt like a very open area. So ended up taking that. One of my favorites. This one's called Boundary. I also like this one. Um, it's pretty simple. This one, I'm sure you can guess what the inspiration was. It's called Blissful. Obviously a play on Microsoft's Bliss, the Bliss wallpaper, the iconic Bliss wallpaper. This is called Blissful, and it's just a hill and clouds, but this one has a lot of flowers on it and shit. Seems something like the Windows XP era, dude. Looks cool. Thanks, man. Lastly, this one's called just Bend, and it's as the name would imply, a river bending. I don't know if I think I don't know how much I like this one, but I still thought it looked decent. So thoughts, now that you guys have seen it. That's what it's looking like so far, though. I want to make it clear that all of what you just saw is subject to change. None of that's final or permanent. The First Wood, Strata, and Blissful are my favorites. I could see that. Definitely the Wood one, Strata, and Clearing are some of my favorites. I also think Reflection works because of just how simple it is. It's just very minimal, very simple, right? In a wallpaper, you don't want something that has way too much going on, you know? You want a wallpaper that's just there, pleasant to look at, but not in the way. So, one question about all the wallpapers. First, many of these are very accurate to be in the upcoming update. And one question is that these wallpapers will have the Raven logo, right? No. I don't plan to put the... I know the current one right now has the Raven logo slapped on it. These won't. Now, if you want to see ones that have the Raven logo slapped on it, if that's what you're looking for, I do actually have something to show you there because these will also be included. Although actually, we might redo the wallpapers. These wallpapers some of them might be like redone, because some of them do have problems in my opinion. Also, a lot of these need to be redone because they have the old Raven logo. So you're gonna be seeing the old Raven logo here, but uh, let me pull up that one also. Nope, that's the wrong thing. I want to pull up. Yeah. So there's two iconic ones that from Talon that you guys already know about. Let me get this situated. At first I thought you were going to show new Raven graphic wallpapers, but I like photography too. Yeah. I actually remind me to get to some yap about that. I have something to talk about there. But so this one's iconic. This one is from the very first demo video, as I'm sure you guys remember. The video that got that got tons of views, the one that blew up Talon, right? This is that wallpaper. This will be included in the wallpaper selection, the original background that never actually. This wallpaper never actually was released for like public use, where like people could actually use it. It was never actually included in Talon. It was only ever shown in that demo and then never really again, you know? So this will actually be included, and there will be a version with our logo over here. So there will be one with and without the logo. This one still has our old logo, so that's our old outdated logo before we incorporated. But so we will update it with the actual logo, but this one is the one that actually did get included in Talon, if you guys remember. This was actually the Talon wallpaper for a while, and it was made by Lily PK. So this wallpaper will be included, and there is, I don't have it to actually like show here. Actually, I do. Hold on. I can just do it myself. There's a variant of this wallpaper that's orange-ish. Um, it kind of looks something like this, maybe like that. I think I got it pretty much spot on, but there is like a variant that's like this color scheme that also will be included. There's this one, again, logo will be updated. It is using the old outdated logo. But this background, which I quite like because it feels very enterprise, you know. This one, updated logo on it, of course, although the logo will probably be moved over here because I think the logo in the middle on this one is kind of stupid. Only thing I don't like about this logo is that like the blending of the shadows isn't super great. So this one might be redone actually, but this one's pretty good looking, I think. It's simple, you know. I do think the shadow lines, I don't know how well that shows up on stream, but like you can kind of visibly see lines of the shadows. I think this one might be not necessarily redone, but just tweaked a bit, and then obviously the logo needs to be updated. This one is like the glass shattering effect one. I actually really don't see much wrong with this one. I like this one a lot as it is. Just update the logo. This one that you guys all know. This is the modern background, right? Actually, my desktop wallpaper right now. This is the desktop wallpaper I'm rocking every day. I like it. Honestly, this is my favorite wallpaper really. It's just it's super simple, maybe even a little boring, I'd say, but it's just a solid background, pleasant. In it, this is actually the concept design that I came up with that kind of created our whole um, design scheme that I dubbed Carbon. So, kind of the whole style of our website and everything. Our whole design scheme that I came up with. I'm Raven's designer. We don't have an actual, like, we don't have a hired designer. I do the graphic design. So, um, Raven's actual, like, design scheme is dubbed Carbon, and that's where that was bred from. And then there's this one too. And not my most favorite background, but still solid. I like it. Oh shit. Heartburn's beating my ass right now, and what's funny is that I literally took heartburn medicine before starting the stream. It just doesn't work. You're about to ask who did the graphic? Yeah. All of Raven's graphic design is just me. um, the Raven bird, the actual bird, I made it. I made the bird, I made the logo, I made the website, I made the wallpapers, made all that. It's actually quite simple to run a company for fairly cheap if you do everything yourself and you don't have to pay someone else to do it. Raven saves a lot of money by not having to pay people to do every little thing. Most companies need web designers and they need graphics designers. They need a creative manager or whatever to like organize it all. They need all that shit, right? Instead, it's just me, just doing it. I need a fucking haircut, like really bad. Wasn't I gonna say something? I was gonna say something. I can't remember what I was gonna say. But what was I gonna yap about? I literally remember. I literally told you guys to remind me about something I was gonna yap about. And then I really wanted to yap about it, but now I don't know what it was. Do you guys remember? Can you help me remember? Did I mention what I was gonna yap about? Uh, Maybe if I read the chat message again. Which chat message triggered it? Oh, okay. I know what I was gonna talk about. I know what I was gonna talk about now. So, what I'm about to say, I feel like runs the risk of being taken out of context and being misinterpreted. I want to make something completely clear before I get this yap out of the way. I'm just going to preface it by saying that I think Talon is a solid debloater, solid Windows optimization utility. I think it's good, but I don't think it's the best. I actually don't think there is such thing as the best debloater or Windows optimizer. There's just no such thing. Because the best means the strongest viable option out of all of them. And that's way too broad. Because there is such thing as the best for, and then you specify a specific group of people, right? Like, I believe Talon is the best option for a Windows optimization utility or debloater, whatever you want to call it, for less tech savvy users, just average users who just want to run and done, right? Like they don't care about meticulously managing every little detail or whatever, right? They don't have complex special circumstances. They just want to use their computer. I think Talon is the strongest option. I think it's the best one out there. But I do not think that Talon is the best option for more tech savvy users who want exact meticulous control or want like everything like that, right? Like we definitely have improved on that front. Like Talon definitely can be customized tons more, and is a lot more usable for less tech savvy users, or sorry, more tech savvy users. But it's still not just the strongest option. Can be like comparatively to just other ones, it's really not the best in that for those people. Another one as well is anyone like, you get what I'm saying. I don't think I really need to keep yapping about that more, but I did just want to preface it by saying that I don't think Talon's the best debloater, because I don't think there is such thing as the best debloater, and anyone telling you that what so and so is the best is lying to you, or just misled themselves, because that can't be the case. There is no such thing as the best. I mean, if the best for a specific circumstance or whatever, sure, but not just the best all around. That doesn't exist. No one size fits all. That's what I always say. There's no single universal shoe size that fits everyone, right? You know what I mean? Like, um, with that out of the way, again, at risk of sounding like possibly a douchebag, I don't know what the fuck more to do with Talon. I, I I I look at Talon and I just think it's like good as is. Like I don't really, I've been running out of like ideas. I sit there and I try to think, well, how do I make Talon better? What's like something new I can add to, like, what's something people are missing? That's something that people really want. And then I look at it and my mind is just blank. Like I'm just like, again, I'm not trying to say that Talon's perfect. I'm not trying to say that it's like the best option. Talon definitely isn't perfect, but it's like, what do I do now? you know? Um, like I could add more language support. I could, uh, but like, let me put this into perspective for you. I have gotten to the point with Talon's development where I literally am so out of ideas, and I literally have nothing to do with Talon, to the point where I'm literally going out and doing photography and taking photos and like for wallpapers to add, because I legitimately don't know what else to do. I don't, you know what I mean? Which I guess, I mean, I think getting to that point of like having nothing else to do with Talon is a good thing, because obviously you want Talon to get to a point where it's just a stable, consistent, reliable piece of software. You don't want it to constantly change and add new features and constantly be improved or whatever, right? You just want it to just like do the thing. You know what I mean? So I guess for the fundamental idea of like what Talon's supposed to be, like it being at this stage of development where like I literally don't know what else to do, I guess is, I mean, yeah, I think it's a good thing. But like also at the same time, I like I'm not used to that. I'm always used to there being something more to do. There's always something to improve, right? There's always something to that could be better. And but 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 when I look at Talon, I legitimately can't think of shit. I'm at a point now where it's like, technically I could do this. Technically I could change that around. Technically this could be a little bit better, but like it's like such minor stuff. You know what I mean? That's like minuscule as far as at least like anything like that's actually like a big improvement. I literally am at a loss. Like I don't know what's going on with the other deep loader projects that are like similar to Talon. I don't know what's going on with, Winhance. I don't know what else is go I don't know what's going on with the Alice OS project. I don't know what's going on with those guys, but at least for me, like in Talon, I'm out here taking fucking photo. I'm literally going outside and just taking photos of nature and shit. Like, you know your software's in a weird stage whenever you're at the point of software development where you're just outside taking photos. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. That was just a little rant from me. I'm if any of you guys have ideas for like how to improve Talon, you guys got recommendations or whatever, I would love to hear them. Truly, like I would actually really love to hear them because I'm at a you know what I mean. For what it's worth, it's a really great service. I appreciate that, man. For people like me, yeah. Well, I appreciate that, man. It's always I'm always happy to hear that from the target audience. You know what I mean? If the target audience is happy with the product, then you know what I mean. That's which is kind of exactly why I'm a little like I'm kind of in a I don't know. I don't know. I'm not used to. I'm not. I think I'm just not used to. Because Talon's the first ever like software project I've ever ran that like has reached this stage. You know what I mean? Talon's the first ever one that's gotten to this point. So it's just kind of like weird. Like the target audience of the product is saying, you know, it's really great and it's like working well for them. Great. How do you how do you improve past that? You know what I mean? Ooh, this heartburn is beating my ass. How is the new internet coming? Well, internet's the wrong word for it. First off, I know in the title or not in the title in yeah in the title and the thumbnail of the very first video I made about alternate back when it was called BetaNet, which by the way we changed the name from BetaNet to alternate. Um, I don't know how up to date you are with with the latest news about it. Um, internet was the wrong word to use. We're not making a new internet. We're making a new web. In casual conversation between like you know just people talking, usually internet and web are very interchangeable um, a lot of the time. But for like a technically accurate discussion, which is definitely the kind of discussion you're having if you're talking about alternate, you want to be concise about that kind of stuff. So it's definitely it's more correct to say web. That was a mistake on my front at the start of the project, but semantics aside, it's coming along well. We actually just completed the second milestone, the second development milestone for the proof of concept code implementation. And we haven't released a newsroom post yet, which, by the way, newsroom is our the like section of our website for getting the latest news about stuff going on with Raven, including alternate. Um, the we haven't made a newsroom post about it yet. That's actually going up today, but we finished that development milestone, so now we're gonna be doing a update live stream on the official Raven YouTube channel. Which, by the way, if you're wondering, if you haven't really caught up with the project in a long time, I highly recommend you go to the official Raven YouTube channel, subscribe to that with you know notifications on, and then also watch this video. Watch this video about how alternate works and the design issues we're facing right now. Very good video if you want to get a better grasp of what the project actually is, the state it's in right now, and everything. Um, Granted, that video was posted 2 months ago, so the project has advanced and developed since then, but you know, we're going to be doing a update live stream explaining the new, uh, the changes of this latest milestone, talking about the technicals of it, answering questions and stuff. And the current developer will be, the developer of the POC will be there too to actually explain things on a technical level, break things down, and answer questions and stuff. So if you have any questions, you can, I guess, write them down or whatever. And then when that live stream happens tomorrow, you can bring your questions, ask away. We can actually answer them. You know what I mean? Thank you for a recommendation. Yeah, of course, man. Be honest, chat. Did I come off as a douchebag like earlier when I was talking about Talon and how I've like run out of things with it? Because I feel like I feel like that sounds douchebaggish. Because I don't want to sound like a douche. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to. No, not at all. All right. Because I really felt like that could really come off the wrong way. I'm not trying to like. It's just honest. I mean, yeah, like I've never seen another software developer like, at least in this space of like Windows debooters and optimizers and stuff. I've never seen a developer of one get so bored out of his mind that he's actually just taking fucking photos of nature. That's as part of the development process. Like, like that. That's the stage we're at. Oh shit. I'm fucking feeling it. God damn. You know what I should start doing when I'm tired like this? I should start like fucking playing a video game. Did you guys know that before I did all this shit on this channel? Or not before. I did it while I was doing the stuff on this channel, actually. That's before is just wrong. But a good while back, I used to actually do, like, gaming stuff on this channel, too. Granted, the content sucked. But you could watch my stupid ass fucking playing Minecraft or whatever. It wasn't videos, though. I did the videos were the technical content, and I did live streams of, like, gaming stuff. But most of the time I was just playing like Minecraft or something. And I exclusively only ever played it when I was exhausted and really tired. But I think those streams are delisted now, probably. Are they? Let me double check. Yeah. Yeah, they are. Yep. Hmm. So, something interesting about Endpoint, um, as well, that I thought about. Um, this popped up in my head again just because that last guy in the chat was talking about, alternate and like asking for an update and stuff. When alternate gets to a stage where it it's stable, right? It's actually production ready. Like alternate's actually finally at that stage, which is probably years from now, where it's actually like at a point where it's usable at scale and actually usable by daily users and stuff, like reliable. When it gets to that stage, and then endpoint also is at that stage, it would be completely feasible to have endpoint over alternate. So like you're using endpoint as the messaging protocol, right? But then the actual transport layer of that is endpoint or is alternate. I meant, and kind of the idea there would be that um, endpoints providing the like identity, it's providing the encrypted communications, it's providing the actual message encryption and stuff, it's providing actual stuff like that. But then alternate is providing the actual censorship resistance and the decentralized delivery of those messages, if that makes sense. So essentially creating just an extremely resistant and very strong form of secure communication that's very hard to suppress or prevent or hijack, because endpoint is endpoint using PGP and stuff is very strong on that front regarding identity verification and signing messages and stuff, and the messages being encrypted. And the servers, of course, can tamper with the messages and stuff, but then it's cryptographically invalid then, and noticeable that it's been tampered and can be discarded. So it's secure in that front, and then then there's still the risk of like, well, if you're exchanging messages, what if they just try to block the message from being able to be delivered, right? Then that's kind of where alternate would come in, where with its censorship resistance, where it actually, you know, provides that layer of secure transport so that your message will get to its destination. You know what I mean? So just something interesting to think about. I'd really like when alternate is at a stage where it can be actually used at scale and it's actually a stable release. And then when endpoint is also at that stage, I would very much like to experiment with that, like make a implementation of endpoint over alternate. I'd love to try that. Played anything recently? So I've gotten back into playing Nuclear Throne, which is a game that not many people know about, which is Criminal. Very good game. I got back into playing Nuclear Throne because I know this is going to sound awful. I've never actually reached the Nuclear Throne until yesterday, last night. I was playing a little bit of Nuclear Throne and I reached the throne. Um, I'm not going to spoil, I'm not going to give spoilers, but I forgot about something that happens when you reach the throne that instantly kills you, and it instantly killed me because I forgot that happened. But I did reach the throne for the first time, so banger game. I've been playing a metric fuck ton of Helldivers. I play a honestly a unhealthy amount of Helldivers. A lot of Helldivers. I actually very recently bought Sekiro Shadows Die Twice because I've seen gameplay of it. I've watched someone play the game, so I kind of already know most about the game, spoiled or whatever. But still, I'm not going into like not knowing anything. But um, that is a phenomenal game, absolute cinema. Like it is a honestly spectacular game. So I'd love to play it. I've only played a little bit of Nuclear Throne. Played Helldivers a lot when it came out, but fell off a bit. Helldivers is off and on. I get really into it for a while, and then I fall off for a little while, and then I get really into it. It's like a back and forth tug of war kind of thing. Schedule 1. I bought Schedule 1 because me and my friends have been playing it. We have a multiplayer get co-op thing going on. Schedule 1, very fun. I bought, I tried Mecha Chameleon. It's just Mecha Chameleon's fun. It's just public lobbies are miserable. So, haven't played too much of that. I tried the finals. I got the finals because my friend kept bugging me to, begging me to play the finals with him. And multiplayer FPS games like that are just not my cup of tea. I'm not bad at it, but it's just not my cup of tea. Honestly, the strongest thing I got going for me in those kinds of games is my aim. My aim is pretty good, so like I get a solid amount of kills and an alright amount of kills, but like regarding actually like winning games and being really good at it and stuff, like I kind of not. It's just not my cup of tea. Very much a single player kind of gamer, more single player type games, I guess. Cyberpunk. I bought Cyberpunk a while ago, um, and I'm actually pretty deep into it. I love Cyberpunk. Honestly, one of my most favorite games. If you're wondering, by the way, why I have so many games and stuff, like how I'm able to even afford having that many games or whatever, it's purely because of the Steam sale. Every single game I've just mentioned I got on sale, except for Nuclear Throne because Nuclear Throne is cheap as shit. But every single game I just mentioned, Helldivers 2, Schedule 1, Cyberpunk, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, all that stuff, each one was only like a couple bucks each because I got them all on sale. Steam Summer Sale. So, actually, I think the only exception to that is Helldivers. I got Helldivers before summer, so Helldivers is an exception. No, I didn't buy Helldivers. It was gifted to me. My friend gifted me Helldivers. I was about to say because I know damn well I didn't drop 60 fucking dollars on a game. I would never. 60 fucking dollars on a game. I'm not paying that. I'm not that much of a gamer to be dropping 60 fucking clams on a video game. But my friend gifted it to me, so neat. Good, you have time to game still? Barely. Okay, so let me make something clear. I listed those games and I talked about playing them. That probably implies that like I have free time to play games. I wish. This is over the course of like months. I'm usually only ever to play. I usually only ever have time in the day to play a game for like maybe 2 hours at most before I need to go, like 2 or 3 hours. And obviously, and that's max. Like at the absolute worst, maybe two or three. Usually, it's only like if I'm playing Helldivers, I can maybe get one or two missions in. Um, if I'm not completing all the whole mission, if I'm not 100%ing the mission, I can get like two or three in. But like if I am 100%ing it, I get like barely. I can get like a mission or two in, and then I gotta get back to work. Except for Sundays, because Sundays they highly encourage that you don't work on Sundays where I'm working at because reasons, but basically they basically Sundays I'm like able to just not I'm able to Sundays I don't have to work, so Sundays I'm a lot more free to just game or whatever. So those are the days usually where I get most of my gaming in, but um, at the same time too, I like working on Raven stuff, and usually use Sundays as a time to be able to really knock out a bunch of Raven stuff. So um, even then, I don't actually have a ton of time to play games, but that's more self-inflicted rather than being busy. Just because I'm just not that much of a gamer. I used to be a hardcore gamer when I was like a few years ago, but I kind of fell off that pretty hard getting older. Still play games from time to time, like I said, maybe like an hour a day or something, but just not sitting there spending hours and hours just like playing for game after game or whatever, right? Like I'll play a round of Helldivers Go. That was nice. Get back to work. you know. You gotta stream one of these sometime. Yeah, sure. I mean, only real reason I'm able to do these live streams right now is just because it's whenever I'm unable to sleep and I'm just like up in a yapping mood. Because obviously at 4:16 a.m. I have time to do a stream because I'm supposed to be sleeping right now. Um, but I probably could. My Unk reflexes won't allow me to play multiplayer FPS anymore. True. Yeah, I went big on this last summer sale. Mainly JRPGs. That's nice, man. The game is 40 full price actually. Holy shit. You're talking about Helldivers? Yeah, I would not. Honestly, $20 is like probably my limit for games. If it's a really good game, maybe 25, but like actually I need to see if Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, the remake, if that is on sale. I'm 100% buying that. Actually, no, probably not because I can't run it, I don't think. But games are fun, just not much of a gamer these days, busy. And when I'm not busy, I often, instead of playing games, I usually opt instead to work on Raven stuff. You know what I mean? Instead. Or I'll like the rare time I ever upload, the rare time I post a video. Usually I record those videos whenever I have time like that. I do a video instead. Over the last since my most recent upload, I've actually done like 3 different videos, except I haven't posted any of them because I didn't like them very much. I wanted to post one, and I really debated posting one, but then I slept on it, and then I woke up the next day and I was like, yeah, that video's not good. Then I threw it away. I have an idea for Talon Raven themed space pinball. You see, there's actually there was a time in Talon's lifespan when a lot of people were recommending like, hey, while Talon has like the overlay or whatever, you should like put a little game where you can, play a little game while your computer's debloating or whatever, right? Or hey, like whatever, right? Like just having a little something like that, or doing what you're saying, like Raven themed space pinball, right? Um, you know, I feel like that would just kind of shitify Talon. Like I feel like your specific chat message was mostly just a joke, but um, to try to actually answer it seriously, I feel like that's just kind of shitifying Talon because I mean I don't want to add a bunch of unnecessary shit, right? Like Talon should just do one thing and do it well. It should serve its purpose, right? And that's about it. It's a utility, So I feel like that's kind of why I thought the idea was funny, but just jesting, yeah. Like I knew you were probably joking, but if you wanted like a kind of serious yap about that for a sec, like it's an interesting idea. It'd probably be a little quirky and fun and stuff, but Talon's not supposed to be quirky or fun. Talon's not supposed to be, silly or zany. If you're a piece of software that's running on my system and making deep system changes and you're um, doing stuff like that, right? I want the software to be serious. I want the software to be um, trustworthy, right? I want it to feel trustworthy. I want it to actually, um, like I feel like it's a little out of place when software like Talon is being all wacky and zany and stuff like that. I think it's just inappropriate. You know what I mean? At least that's just my take. I would feel less comfortable with software like that that's going that deep rooted and stuff. I'd feel less comfortable with that kind of software if it's doing that kind of stuff versus the one that's, feels mature and that feels like, serious. It must be hard to add things since it sort of goes against what Talon is about. It's kind of what I was talking about earlier, right? Like when I'm talking about like I have no ideas of what to add to Talon, I'm kind of like running out of shit to think about. Technically, I do come up with a couple of different things here and there, like different ideas, but the thing is that all of those ideas are like I can add shit into Talon all day long, but are they actually worthwhile features? You know what I mean? Like I can think of a million different things to add to Talon right now that are things to add, but are they genuinely meaningful? You know what I mean? Are they actually tangibly beneficial to our users, or are they more so just like slapping shit onto software unnecessarily, right? And pretty much every idea I could think of ended up being me realizing that like, that's kind of just unnecessary, you know? Like I look at Talon and I think about my idea and I'm just like that would just kind of not be worth doing at all. Talon's fundamentally about debloating, right? So the software itself should be debloated. It shouldn't. The software itself should be not filled with a bunch of unnecessary stuff. You know what I mean? Like just give the users what they need. Give provide a good experience. Give them what they need. Give them what they want, right? But don't add on all this unnecessary shit because then you end up like in a Windows situation where you know how Windows has like a million icons and stuff that you don't want, like so many apps and shit that you never use, never want, all that stuff. That are Windows honestly starts to feel like that. Like I feel like a lot of the Windows devs kind of were running out of ideas of what to do to make Windows like more productive system or whatever, I guess. So then they added the clock app, they added the weather app, they added like all these stupid little tiny apps that no one's ever gonna use. They added the little sticky notes app, like come on, man. Like I don't know. I don't want to end up like that with Talon because that's it. I don't want it to become what it's made to take out. I don't know how to pronounce your username, but howdy as well. Hello. Microsoft 500 more bloatware updates, please. True. True. Give the users what they want, Microsoft. I need more Copilot, and I need it yesterday. I want my Copilot. Give me some fucking Copilot, Microsoft. Goddamn, being stingy with the Copilot integrations. Damn. I want Copilot integrated in everything. I want my water bottle. I want my water to have Copilot integrated in that bitch. I want like my Neuralink fucking 50 years from now when like everyone has brain implants. I want fucking Copilot on that bitch. I want Copilot in my brain. I want Copilot in my eyeballs. I want to see Copilot. I want my Copilot and I won't take it without this extra without the spyware, extra spyware too. Yeah. It's like when the Olive Garden person is like grating the Parmesan and you're supposed to say like when you want them to stop, but just like not saying when. So they just keep going and they just can't stop because they have to wait for you to say stop. So they're just just they're doing that with spyware. Just keep going. I never told you to stop. If it's not listening to my conversation, it's got to be fixed ASAP. True. You could branch out to Android? Fuck no. Fuck no. Okay, look, PCs and Windows and stuff, phones are a whole nother beast, especially Android, man. I'll leave that to Graphene OS. I'll leave that to more capable hands. Bad idea? Honestly, yeah, bad idea. Uh, the concept of deep-loading Android isn't a bad one, but it's a misplaced idea because of the way Android and phones fundamentally work. They're tons more locked down than PCs. So you can't just download an app that you press a few buttons and then the app just debloats your whole system for you. That's not how it's not how that works. Sucks that graphene is only on Pixels. Yeah, but that's because Graphene OS needs an unlocked bootloader, and Pixel phones are the only mainstream phones that have an unlocked bootloader. Technically, you can run Graphene OS on other phones too. There are phones with unlocked bootloaders out there that aren't Pixels, but they're not mainstream phones. They're extremely expensive for decently shitty hardware. Like you're getting pretty low end, crappy hardware for about the same price as a Pixel phone. you know, Maybe like 100 or 200 less. So it's like at that point you might as well get the Pixel phone. Phones are way more locked down. They're just a completely different beast, man. It I'll leave that again to more capable hands. That is just not something we intend to pursue anytime soon. I like the idea of just having an app you can run on Android and it just debloats your phone. Like that'd be awesome. It's just not possible. Actually, you can make an app that does like some degree of stuff, but first off, it wouldn't be on the App Store. You'd have to side load it. That stupid fucking term. And then even after side loading it, um, you would have to like it still wouldn't be that effective. Probably the most they could do is maybe change a couple settings. like I don't know. Graphene is one of the few things just built just for privacy. Sad to see all of our personal lives being stripped away just to be sold data for advertising, as well as being forced to make accounts just for the sake of companies wanting to know which traffic is AI and bots, seeing as over 50% of traffic is artificial now. Yeah, well, a couple things on that. So first off, the 50% of traffic is artificial now. I feel like that number is a little bit misleading. I feel like that number is very. I mean, it's a headline, is what it is. It's a headline. So obviously the headlines lack nuance, but it's more nuanced than that. You know, like treat that 50% traffic as artificial now more like a estimate rounded up for a flashy headline instead of like the real accurate number. Um, That's not to say though that still so much of the internet's traffic now is all just artificial bots and stuff. I'm not saying that that's not the case. I'm not trying to downplay that. It definitely is bad, but like, the whole 50% numbers. I remember seeing one guy say it's 51% actually or whatever. Like I would take those numbers with a grain of salt. Another thing as well, you know, thing about Graphene OS and a lot of the state that we're in with things, and is that so many privacy people don't ever realize is that it is the value, the importance of convenience. Like, take Talon for example, right? The reason why Talon I feel was such a success, especially for less tech savvy users and stuff, is because technically, yes, a less tech savvy user can run Chris Titus Text when util, check a bunch of boxes and all that stuff, and run that stuff themselves. But like, usually built for privacy stuff compromises convenience. And if you compromise convenience, then you're really cutting out a very large chunk of mainstream users, right? People value convenience. I feel like that's something that kind of differentiates me from a lot of the other privacy YouTubers out there or whatever. I hate calling myself a YouTuber, but yeah, I really don't like that label. But like the privacy, the people in the privacy community that like make videos and shit like that, like I feel like a lot of them are willing to compromise convenience for the sake of privacy in a lot of circumstances, but I very much value my convenience. And I would consider myself a tech savvy person. I would consider myself like, very much in the tech circle, but I very much value my convenience. And it's something I've noticed out of a lot of those people in that circle is that they really don't, not nearly as much. Um, like Graphene OS is a good example, I think, because Graphene OS is pretty clean. It's pretty solid. It's pretty usable. From what I've seen, I've never actually personally used Graphene OS myself. I'm just going off of what I've seen and what I've heard and everything like that. From what I've seen and what I've heard, all that Graphene OS is pretty solid, but it also does compromise in some areas. Like there are a lot of things that people use and rely on that rely on Google Play services and stuff. And you can still use Google Play services and stuff on Graphene OS, but it's like sandboxed in a way and whatnot. Like one example I've heard is that like many banking apps don't work on Graphene OS because they rely on certain measures and stuff integrated, I guess, with the Google Play services or whatever that just doesn't work on Graphene OS. Um, like these are real compromises. These are real usability issues. Take Linux, for example. A lot of privacy-focused people, a lot of people who care about freedom with their system and privacy and security and stuff, they'll switch to Linux. Linux comes with a ton of compromises. Like, don't get me wrong, and I'm not trying to start, because there's always a Linux user lurking who's gonna like take everything I'm about to say about Linux to heart and like be deeply offended. Um, but so obviously I'm not trying to insult your religion, but like Linux has come a long way in the last couple of years, especially. But and there's no doubt about that, but it's still far from the finish line because convenience is a major issue with Linux, in my opinion. I confidently believe that for the average less tech savvy user, Linux is not there yet in terms of usability and convenience. It's just not there yet. I mean, hell, to even get Linux in the first place, you have to get a USB drive, you have to download an ISO, you have to flash the ISO with something like Rufus or whatever onto the USB drive, you have to disable secure boot, you have to boot into it, press the F whatever keys, boot into the BIOS, and boot into the USB drive and shit, just to even get to the installer. Like, come on, right? Do you really expect Uncle Bob, like uh, Aunt Sally or whatever, do you really expect them to be sitting there and doing all that shit just to install a system to their computer? No. And then even when you get there, the convenience of the package manager. I've seen YouTubers shilling Linux and stuff. They're talking about like, oh, you want to download Steam, you want to download OBS, you want to download whatever. Just there's like this little app store app thing, which is just a front end for the package manager. And they're like, oh my God, look, you can just type it in, click install, and it installs. But what they don't tell you is that those are community maintained packages that oftentimes miss little components or have little quirks to them or whatever. And then as a user, you also need to know the difference between a flat pack and a regular version, and also sometimes there's multiple packages and everything else. So it's like, what the fuck? And oftentimes, a lot of those packages are outdated because they're, again, community maintained and stuff. The channels aren't official. So It just complicates things. And then, you go to like their website to download something because as a ex Windows user, that's what you think to do instead of using the package manager. You go to their website to download it like Windows, and half the time the software doesn't support Linux. And if it does support Linux, you're downloading a .deb file or whatever, just assuming we're on Debian. You have to right click the file, click properties, enable like its ability to be like executed or whatever, and then on some systems you can double click it and then like click install or whatever. But sometimes on some systems I've seen you have to do it through the terminal, in which you have to open it up and run the dpkg dash whatever and like actually install it that way. And it's like, you see my point? Do you expect your do you expect like the average mom or dad um, taking care of their two kids? They work a 9 to 5. They're just living paycheck to paycheck, providing for their family. They pay the bills on the computer, right? Because I think a lot of us internet people who are on the internet a lot and are watching these streams, right, are involved in these communities, I think we often forget the people who aren't on the internet, because when you're on the internet a lot, it's easy to, because you got to think, everyone you see on the internet that's like vocal and that's making comments, that's engaged in these communities, that's having these conversations and stuff online, we're a very small portion of people. The actual majority of people aren't doing that stuff. They're not, maybe they leave a comment or two or like leave a review on an Amazon page or something, but they're not engaging in these conversations or discussions or whatever. So, when you actually do consider that giant chunk of people, it really changes the picture. The silent majority, if you will. The silent majority isn't going to use Linux. They're just not. Not with the way Linux is right now. The silent majority is just not going to use Graphene OS right now. They're not going to root their phone. They're not going to unlock the bootloader. They're not going to do that shit at risk of bricking their new phone they just bought, which would also void the warranty and lose them out on a bunch of money. They're not going to do that. They're just going to suck it up and use Android. And frankly, I will too, because I also value convenience. Instead of using Linux like that and all that shit, I'm on Windows right now. It's just that simple. And I know people agree. Some people agree with what I just said there. Some people disagree with what I just said there. But I think that the evidence is present. And I've seen people fall back on stuff like, oh, well, that's just because big tech is blah, 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 blah. Or that's just because blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's because the users are wrong. The users are the one at fault. It's actually those people that are the ones that are wrong, right? Um, like blaming them or whatever, right? If you talk to any average regular person, they'll tell you that they're fed up with this shit too. They're fed up. My a friend of mine, his mom, who literally is like just average working lady, she's not tech savvy at all. She was literally complaining about like, man, they literally raised the price of my Netflix subscription, and they took off like one of my most favorite shows that I would watch all the time. So I'm paying more and not even getting the show that I want anymore, which moved to this other platform that's wanting to charge me this bunch of money now. And they're pissed about it. They're frustrated as shit. But what other option do they have? Costs money, costs good money, and they're pissed about that. But and they always are. They're getting fucked. At the end, that silent majority I was talking about, they're the ones that honestly get the fucked the most, because at least you guys are tech savvy enough and stuff to manage yourselves and to, you know what I mean? But like, even that guy in the chat was talking about how he's not tech savvy and he loves Talon and stuff, which thanks, by the way. But the fact that you even found Talon and researched it and tried it yourself and stuff, Most of these people don't do that because they're not online, and they don't hear about, they don't know talent exists because they're not listening. They're working a 9 to 5. They're going home. They open up their HP laptop they bought from Best Buy, and they're paying their bills and shit, and maybe watch some YouTube and then get off. Right? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, they're not. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't actually have the best grasp on reality. That sounds really rude, but honestly, I couldn't really think of a much better way to say it when it comes to the conversation about privacy, right? I largely think that's just because the silent majority is silent, they're often forgotten. They're not considered. People often forget that majority of people are just like regular ass people who greatly value convenience and aren't willing to sit there and learn about a whole new operating system or whatever. They just want the computer to do the thing. They bought a computer so that they can play Minecraft, and they want it to play at a high frame rate, and they want to be able to watch YouTube videos of cats and shit and doom scroll. They want to be able to play Minecraft and doom scroll. They want to play Roblox, right? Like, if that shit can work, they don't care about really whatever else, right? And a lot of them very much care about like their system being cluttered with all this stupid shit and AI integrating into everything and stuff, but they suck it up and deal with it because they just don't care that much. It's just like it's too much of a hassle to deal with it. And it really comes down to the fact that if these privacy respecting alternatives or whatever, if if Linux, if any of these other options that are, stronger for privacy or independence or whatever, freedom and everything, if they want a winning chance, then be more convenient, be the more convenient option. Because right now you're not. Right now you're actually quite the opposite. Right now you're actually annoying, to a degree. You require having to relearn things, having to put more energy and effort into using your devices and stuff, which just is not like people don't want to do that. They're blocking third parties. I think that's mainly, I think, pointed to the tvOS people. Are you referring to who's they? They're blocking third parties. Who are we referring here when we're saying they? Fortunately, convenience comes with a price to pay, especially these days. It absolutely does. And the reason why that companies are like Netflix or whatever are able to, you know, stop offering a show or whatever and raise the prices and get away with it and shit, and people are still going to pay that price and they know it. They're going to be frustrated, but they're going to still pay that part. But you're going to be frustrated about Netflix paying the price, then you're going to continue paying the price. And they know it. And yeah, ask yourself, why is that? Why are people still paying for Netflix even when they up the price and they're shitifying the platform even more? It's because it's still just more convenient to suck it up and just do that. That's still just the more convenient option, because switching to, well, actually, you can just self-host your own Jellyfin instance using old hardware as a little makeshift server that you just host in the corner of your house, and you can actually download these torrents and whatever. Like, man, I'm just gonna fucking pay the extra $3 a month and just fucking keep using Netflix. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I gotta get my kid to school tomorrow. I got fucking my bills to pay. My bills are coming up, man. I got my boss is being a dick to me at work. Like, I got shit to do, man. I'm fucking, you know what I'm saying? I got my niece's birthday party fucking coming up in a few days. Like, I don't want to fucking do that, man. I don't want to fucking do that, right? Like, do you guys see what I'm saying? Most people do value convenience and wouldn't want to lose that on their machine. Would it be worth offering Talon versions of services like desktop to phone file sharing or cloud? What? Would it be worth offering Talon versions of services like desktop to phone? Oh, you mean like just like, because when you said Talon versions, I was like, what? You mean like just like simple, convenient alternatives to desktop to phone file sharing and stuff? Because you're asking about that, there's a simple solution. There is actually already that. We already offer that. You want to know what it is? Ravenbin.com. Drag and drop or upload the file, or write text, or both. Max size up to 5 gigabytes. You can upload up to 5 gigs of data. I can set the expiry time, set it to an hour. Raven. You get a QR code, which you can share, and people can scan, and it'll bring them to the data. Or you can just share the URL. And if you click that link, there you go. So I've actually heard that apparently a lot of users of Ravenbin, the way they use Ravenbin is if they have a file on their desktop, they'll upload it to Ravenbin, and then they'll just pull out their phone with the QR code reader, and they'll just scan the QR code and then get the file on their phone. So that already exists. We already offer that. Ravenbin. And by the way, for those of you not really aware of Ravenbin, it's all client-side encrypted. And what that means is that the actual encryption of the data and stuff happens locally in your browser on your device. So we actually never see the data that you share. It's the way Bin is fundamentally designed. We can't see the data that you share. And you can confirm this yourself because the code is like in the web page that you have loaded. You can actually pop open, inspect element or like view page source and read the JavaScript yourself like it's there. And it's using client-side encryption from your browser. So you absolutely can we can't see the data you share. So it is private. It's truly zero knowledge, if you will. SteamOS's peak. SteamOS is cool. It's the most user-friendly version of Linux I've seen yet. But that's kind of just because they took a stable version of Linux and, made a really good UI and integrated it well. I think SteamOS is good. I'm not trying to say what I just said to like downplay it. I think SteamOS actually is really good. SteamOS is absolutely a step in the right direction, and I think it's because Valve understands. Valve SteamOS is a Linux distro actually designed for the users that I was just talking about, the kind of users who don't care about that shit, right? Like, the users buy a Steam device, a Steam machine, or a Steam Deck or whatever, and then SteamOS just kind of fucking works, right? And it integrates with all their Steam shit so they can play their Steam games. Like, they can play it on their PC or then they can go and play it on the Steam Deck and it all's integrated and just works and shit, right? And it feels smooth and it's, a nice interface and stuff, so they're happy. Like that is genuinely a very solid operating system. I think SteamOS is great for what it's supposed to be. Feel bad for the people who aren't knowledgeable enough to do basic things, like even just installing jailbroken apps on Android to afford the huge paywalls. That's not basic stuff. I think this is one of the big issues with privacy communities, is that you say that that's basic stuff. That's absolutely not basic stuff. Like, that's basic stuff to you and to me. To you and me, that's basic stuff. To probably a lot of people in this chat, that is pretty basic stuff you're talking about. That's pretty rudimentary. That's not anything. That's like simple shit. To old Pop Wiggleberry and like like my grandpa. Like, do you think my grandpa could do that? Like, that ain't basic stuff. You know what I mean? Raven Bin, I'll bookmark that. I had no idea. Yeah, spread the word. Raven Bin's very solid. Could be cool if it was baked into the OS, maybe. What are you referring to? It's pretty basic. I mean, just look up YouTube Revanced and follow the guide. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. It's pretty basic. I mean, just look up YouTube Revanced and follow the guide. You've already lost me. Dude, my fucking... At that point, who's my parents aren't gonna do that. My grandpa's gonna already give up. If I have to sit there and read a guide and like follow these steps, these technical steps and shit on this website, it's like a documentation style website and stuff. Like, really? No, man. I'm just gonna keep using YouTube and just pay for. I'm just either gonna suck up that for the. I'm just gonna suck it up and watch the ads, or I'm going to just pay for the premium. Oh, you were referring to Raven Bin. Baked into the OS. We are actually working on a desktop client for Bin. It'll be like how it'll work is we're working on a desktop client for Bin right now. So how it'll work is, you know how you have the icons down here? Basically, there'll be a new icon that you just click, and then it has like a little thing where you can either select a file or drag and drop or whatever, or write a message, kind of like in the website. And then you just click a button, and then it generates the QR code and the URL, and you can copy it, whatever, right? So it will just be like um, been integrated into your desktop. And then also, like, you know how whenever you right click a file in File Explorer, there's like different options for like rename, delete, open with, blah blah blah. There will be a new option called like, upload to Raven Bin, like share with Raven Bin or something. And then you click that, and then it just pops up a little window with the URL to copy it and the QR code and stuff. So we are working on a client for that. It is almost 5 a.m. I've been streaming for 2 hours now. Fellas, I'm not gonna lie. I'm thinking I'm calling it. I think I might call it here. I had some interesting chats tonight. Even if you guys don't entirely agree with what I was talking about with the whole thing with privacy and convenience and stuff, even if you don't fully agree to what I was saying, just think on it. That's all I ask. Just consider it. My perspective, my thoughts. Because honestly, I might be a little wrong about some of that stuff too. I might be wrong. I found that usually whenever someone has one extreme perspective and someone else has another extreme perspective, usually somewhere in the middle is actually the correct answer. So I bet honestly the most realistic answer is actually probably somewhere in between what I was talking about, what those people normally talk about, but just what I think, I guess, it's kind of the goal with Raven. I want to make stuff that is privacy respecting, decentralized, respects your freedoms and stuff, but is still actually easy to use, you know. That is the goal. Enough yapping though, enough blabbering. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I might do another stream like this someday soon. We'll see. Y'all have a good night.